So that, and this is where I'm going to just ask a question. In order to implement 3D and really address the fit problem within a brand, right? We need to first address the avatar's relationship to the customer, obviously, which is kind of what you were outlining there. So the question is how important is the efficacy of an avatar in the implementation of 3D? And how important is it that you have the 3D technician who understands fit modifications in that process and relationship? Because quite frankly, I think that if you have a head of innovation that comes from a purely three-dimensional background, but does not have any pattern drafting skills within that process, there's going to always be a misstep somewhere in the workflow that must occur between the teams and the factory level to really have a successful output into e-commerce, not just from the imaging, but also from the declarations of data that you're listing out, whether it's in your specs or saying it's made for a curvy body or even the height that it was made for, right? Those are declarations that are missing, quite honestly, in the e-commerce. And so what's your take on that? Because I think that's one of those weedy zones of the importance of the type of drafter working in the 3D and what they know and what they don't know against the avatar. And then, of course, how it interacts in the e-commerce field.
Well, it's essential. And the reason why I focused immediately on the base body of the brand is that right there, you have to define by stature, stance, dimension, and the avatar that you're going to use. If you're going to use it to actually portray accurately what a garment looks like on that avatar, the avatar has to be accurate. What my experience is that they're squishy. The avatars are not that accurate. And I personally am fitting to an accuracy of 1/4 of an inch. I want my avatar to be matching to that. And right here is the point of where the brand has to define for itself who they are, which is really great in this particular period of time, because it's very related to the high rate of returns. It's because the brand doesn't know exactly who it is. And maybe the brand needs more than one avatar. Maybe they need 2 different fits. Maybe that's what they're actually doing. But if someone who's making those decisions doesn't understand pattern making, doesn't understand fit and what it really is, and how to convey that to the decision makers who are going to pay for this, 3D gets clogged up from the very beginning.
So would you say that it might be an absolutely kind of fixed point in the future that brands own their pattern making in-house, and then they can hand it over to the factories so that there's more control in that process?
Well, the brands that have out of the box gone have, in my experience, and I've worked with several of them, who actually went from kitchen tables to billions of dollars within a very short period of time. That's exactly what they did. They have that in common. They controlled their patterns. Liz Claiborne, the gold standard of consistency of fit, controlled every single pattern, every marker, wash standards, completely controlled, and it paid off in this multi-billion-dollar business. When they left that control, that business began to degrade. So the reality is that right now we have designers who are designing who have no idea who the pattern maker is that makes their pattern. There's that connection has been broken, and it's showing up I believe, I know, actually, I could show, I've actually proved it, that it shows up in the high rate of returns. Because the brand runs out of time, they approve things before they're really perfected, or they really just don't know how to do it. And so this industry could really benefit now in this particular period of time if it could implement 3D in all three phases of the design cycle, because it will allow the brand to actually control their patterns, because you can't do it without controlling your pattern.